Okay, you're on.
All- I'm on. Well, hello, everybody. I just want to thank you for taking the time to show up here tonight. I'm really excited to introduce my coach, JoJo, to you because we've been hanging out for a little while now. And I mean, it's just been the best thing ever. So I just thought it was time for me to stop being selfish and go ahead and share her with my friends. And so that you guys could kind of get in on what I am, really benefiting from right now. So for the benefit of people who've never met me before, I'm Carmella Bell. I'm a diabetes strategist and success coach. I help type 2 diabetics transform how they manage their diabetes so that they can reclaim their lives and live. Because I believe that diabetes, people should not have to live with and die from diabetes. So I'm on a mission to just spread the word because a lot of people that I know don't know that very simple fact. I feel like we fed into this whole spiel that, oh, once you get it, you just have to have it forever and take these meds and do these things. And little did we know that very thing is killing us. So I met JoJo and, she said, hey, I have something that, has helped a lot of diabetics. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And we just slowly just became friends. And she just, she never, she was always cool. We just, how you doing? Kept up with each other. And little do I know, I'm kicking myself now that I took so long to really get into all the good stuff she really had for me. So thank you for coming on with me, JoJo.
Thank you for having me.
And just to let you guys know, JoJo is a certified nutritional consultant, and she has been working in this field for over 12 years. That's a massive amount of information. And trust me, she knows this thing in and out. And she's worked with over thousands and thousands of people, and many of them have reversed their type 2 diabetes. And for people who are not diabetic, especially like me, have seen wonderful improvements just by learning to do simple things that she has worked with me on. So this is why we're here tonight, just to talk about just to have a real conversation about health and how we can detox ourselves back to life.
Thank you. Hey, so before we get started, I just want to disclaim a little bit that, we are not here to diagnose, treat, or cure anything. We are just here to talk about the miracle that the body is and what it can do when we treat it correctly. And, the product is not the miracle. The body is the miracle. We just got to give it what it needs so it can do what it knows to do.
Right.
So I'm glad that we got to do this together. I'm happy.
Yes.
So, before we start, you were talking about, like, before everybody was on and kind of listening, some of the experience that you've had. So what you were thinking before and just some of the experience you've had. So can you just share that before we get started?
Yes. Basically, like when we first met, I was talking about that I wanted to help diabetics, and you were just like, hey, I might have something that can help them. And I was definitely open to hearing about it. And then as time went by, we just didn't really talk much about it. And then finally, when you did introduce it, you were thinking I was diabetic. And so you were talking to me about it. And so I'm thinking, wait a minute, huh? What are you talking about? It's not me. And you're like, oh, you're not diabetic? No, but we're already talking about it now. So, okay. So we just kept talking about it. And at that time, I was thinking this wasn't for me. This is for other people. I don't really need that. I mean, I am over here suffering, not really realizing that I was suffering from adrenal fatigue. I was working a lot of hours, driving at least an hour to and from work every day. And I had a very high demand stress job. And I'm thinking, it's just the job, I'm just working really hard. And that's why I'm tired and can't peel myself out of the bed on the weekends. And, this is normal, I guess. And at the same time, I started subtly putting on weight. And I wasn't doing anything different, but also I couldn't lose it. Used to be, it was a process I would follow through, and I would easily lose 5 or 10 pounds and kind of get back where I wanted to be, but the weight wasn't budging. And then shortly after, I noticed I'm a heavy girl, so going up the steps was not always easy, but I could do steps. But when I started going down steps, my knees were hurting, popping, doing all kinds of weird things that old people do experience. And I wasn't even 40. 40's not old, but I was still in my 30s. And I'm like, I know this is too young for this business. And so even while I'm kind of having those little side conversations with you, all this stuff is going on. And I'm thinking, I don't need that. I'll figure out how to solve my problem. I don't need that. And so fast forward to when we finally did decide to set up and, go ahead and start the system. We talked about, okay, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? I'm like, well, obviously I want to, lose weight. Something is going on. I need my energy to be better. And I just want to feel better. And so we talked about doing the weight loss system, and I did it. And oh my goodness, the biggest deal was with the adrenal fatigue. I couldn't stay awake. I, sleep through the night, get my kids out to school, 7:30 in the morning, but between 7:30 and 9 o'clock, I'm like, head crashing. And I thought I was just being lazy. Like, oh, you don't want to be focused. You're not trying to do the work. And no, I could not stay awake. And then on top of taking that morning nap, come 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening, crashing again. 2 times I had to take naps a day. And I remember telling you these naps, I can't stay awake. The first week of doing the system, my first nap was eliminated. I was able to stay awake in the mornings. And I was like, well, this is interesting. Then I started doing extra stuff around my house that I didn't even realize I hadn't been doing because I was so exhausted. And I was thinking this whole time, oh, you're just being lazy. You have all these things to do and you just don't want to clean up, or you just don't want to take the kids, or I'm like really beating myself up thinking I'm just not stepping up to the plate, when really I didn't have the energy. And so after about the second week, that second nap was gone. And then from there on, I was like, I miss being this person. I hadn't been this person for a really long time, and I didn't even know it.
Well, that's exciting. And that's what I love to hear. I love it.
It was amazing because I started sleeping better. My husband gets up really early, and usually every single morning, it's like I'm up with him. Please, I was not hearing him do a thing. I didn't hear a rumble, a shuffle, the door slam, nothing. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. He left and I didn't hear the alarm or anything. I was sleeping soundly. So it's so many things that were just byproducts that I didn't even know I was going to get, which is what has really encouraged me to just want to share, because I'm talking to people who are dealing with the same stuff I'm dealing with. But I know, we all are very just cautious of things. There's so many things out in the world that we're doing and people trying to get us to do, but this is just so not that. And so I said, well, what the heck? They have to meet JoJo, and I need to tell them what this good stuff is about. And then it's up to them to decide if it could work for them, but I just want them to know that it worked for me.
So thank you for sharing all that. And, we are just really here to educate. You decide, we support, however that looks for you. But what we have learned to do is this weight loss at all costs mentality, where I don't care if I have to starve myself. I don't care if I have to live on cabbage soup. I don't care if I have to alter my body. I don't care if I have to take crazy pills. I don't care what I have to do. I just want to fit in my skinny jeans. And we've got that mentality. And what that's done is create this really awful cycle of yo-yo dieting, where we go up and down and up and down and up and down, and we deprive ourselves of nutrition. And we're not eating the right things to feed ourselves. And so we think about when we get in that mode of, I just want to fit in my jeans, right? I just want to lose the weight. I don't care what I have to do to get there. So let's look at a deprivation sort of diet where you're dropping calories. So I'm living on celery and carrots, and I'm going to the gym and I'm working out and I'm not feeding myself.
Right.
But I'm still alive. So where's my body getting nutrition? Well, unfortunately, your body will eat your lean muscle when it doesn't have enough calories. So here's the bad part about this, is that as your body starts to eat your lean muscle, we see the weight go down. Well, your weight's going down a lot of times because your lean muscle is disappearing. Right. That is not a good situation. No. And then on top of that, what we know is that all the toxicity in your system gets enrobed inside of your fat cells. And as your fat cells shrink down, they release those toxins back into your system. So we're going to the gym, we're eating celery and carrots, we're shrinking our fat cells down, and all of these toxins get exploded into our system. So if you ever lost weight and lost weight and lost weight, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and you're like, wait, I'm still on celery and carrots, I'm still going to the gym 5 hours a day, how am I not losing more weight? Well, our body gets to a toxicity overload space, where what happens is our pancreas goes, too many toxins in the system, and it starts to pump out more fat to make our fat cells bigger to protect you. So now think about what's happened. We've eaten our lean muscle, and now our body's gone into fat overload mode. And now you go, why did I lose 10 pounds and gain back 20? Why did I lose 20 and gain back 35? Why did I lose 35 and gain back 50? And how many times have we gone through that cycle where at the other side of that, we're actually fatter percentage-wise because of that cycle of eating our lean muscle and our body going into fat overload production. Crazy that we do this over and over and over. And then especially as women, we know we get up, we ignore the food. We go, if I don't eat, then I won't get fat. That's our thought process, right? If I don't eat it, I won't get fat. I don't care if it's good or bad. If I don't eat now, I won't get fat. And we put ourselves in this crazy starvation mode where no matter what we eat, our body holds on to. Right. And you cannot lose weight in that place. Do you know how we lose weight? We lose weight by fueling our body. We lose weight by giving it the nutrition and the calories that it needs to function every single day. Our body knows what to do when we get the minerals in. And we live in this crazy world of bankrupt food. Even our good food is bankrupt because it's grown in bankrupt soil that doesn't feed us the minerals that it needs to feed us. Or we live on, flaming hot Cheetos, which doesn't do us any justice either. And it's all chemicals. And, how do they make that orange stuff? I have no idea because it's not cheese, right?
It's not.
And why does it stain your fingers and ew, right? But now, and I don't know that from experience. I lied.
Of course not. Of course not. No, never.
But this is how we fuel ourselves. And so we don't eat, and then we eat the wrong stuff, and our bodies are just totally lacking supplementation. And so even if your cabinets don't look like, all processed food, which the majority of us have an entire pantry full of processed food. Right. But even if it doesn't look like that, and your pantry and your kitchen is clean and raw, and there's lots of vegetables and all kinds of good stuff, even then we're still lacking nutrients because our soils are depleted. So the supplementation piece is so important. And, we get sick, we go to the doctor gives us a pill, and that pill typically is toxic to our system. So let's say we get sick, we take an antibiotic, it doesn't know what bacteria to kill, it just kills everything because that's, right? It can't tell good, bad. And we need to have good bacteria to help our bodies function just as well as we, to fight off the bad stuff. It's a balance. Mm-hmm. And when we kill everything, guess what overtakes us? That bad bacteria takes over. And then we live on that junk food and that sugar, and it feeds the bad bacteria. So we got all this craziness going on, and we have no nutrition, and we're not eating, and we're yo-yo dieting, and our bodies are like, what? And then we go, okay, well, if you went to the gas station and you put, 30% gas and 70% sugar and water in your tank, how far would your car go? Right. Not very far. But we do that to our bodies every day, and we wonder why we're in adrenal fatigue and why we can't function and why we can't think and why we have no energy. And because we're starving. We're starving. We're starving from nutrients, and we're starving, lacking minerals. We need There are 90 essential nutrients every single day, 90. The majority of us get about 20. We are lacking. We are lacking. It's a bad health crisis. It's bad. And, you know, doctors go, oh, well, you know, as long as you're going to the bathroom once every 3 days, you're fine. Like, really? Okay. So let's just get real and talk about poop for a second. Okay. You guys got to go in the bathroom a couple times a day. Seriously. And we see so many women, especially, a week, not good.
Yeah, they tell us that that's normal. You know, you go in with all these issues and they don't ask you what you've been eating. They just give you Miralax.
Right? Are you getting enough fiber? Are you eating any vegetables? Are you eating flaming hot Cheetos? Right? So what we do is we work with a balanced system. So, and on top of that, what I didn't even add in is how off our pH balance has become. So we have a pH balance in our body, just like a swimming pool, right? So if you think on one side green and mosquitoes flying around, and on the other side, the water's so toxic it's bleach, right? So two opposite ends of the spectrum, but we want to be right in the middle. But the majority of us have an acidic environment.
Right.
And pH balance, when your pH balance is acidic, not only do you crave that bad food, but that's where cancers and disease live, in that acidic environment. None of that stuff can live when your body's in a more alkaline state. So what we do is put the body back into a balanced mode where it can heal, repair, filter, flush, do all of the things that it's supposed to do on its own and isn't doing anymore because it's not being fed properly. That's where we put the body back into. So this is not about weight loss at all costs. Actually, it wasn't even about weight loss to begin with. This was put together to balance the system. The weight loss became a side effect.
Wow.
Oh, cool side effect, right?
Right.
And so in the process of that, what do you notice? More energy, you sleep better, you have better brain function. You can function better at the gym. Aches and pains go away. I mean, all of these things that you just go, what? Like, how does that happen when I'm on a diet? Because most of us have never felt good on a diet. Anybody like felt awful on a diet, right? Go through, you want to, it's die is the first 3 letters of diet for a reason, right? Because you feel like you want to die when you're going through it. But when we look at taking part of what we normally do, which is say breakfast and lunch and coffee, right? Let's just say those 3 things. How much are we normally spending? So if somebody's out, like $5, $4 or $5 for breakfast, maybe?
Please, when I worked downtown, we were lucky if we probably got breakfast for under $4. So it's more like maybe between 4 and 7 even for breakfast, because lunch was more 7 to 10. It was terrible downtown. We weren't downtown, we had, slightly cheaper options, can do a $3, $4, but downtown they were stealing.
Right. If somebody wants to weigh in on the chat bar, you guys can type in. So what are you spending on breakfast? What are you spending on lunch? What do you spend on snacks and coffee? So you stop at the gas station, run in and grab some chips and a soda. You go to Starbucks for $5. Does anybody get out of Starbucks for less than $5 anymore? No, right? If you're lucky, or you get just black coffee.
The small drip coffee, maybe, huh?
Right. So typically, what we see is, let's just say the low end, $4 for breakfast.
Yeah.
$6 for lunch, and like $4 for a coffee. That's $14 a day.
Yeah.
So we can take that and shift that from spending that on something that's killing us to shifting it to something that's going to not only save our life, but really put us in a quality of life, because that's what's important.
And that makes so much sense, because I will have to say, like, when you first kind of mentioned that to me, I'm like, yeah, right. I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying, shift the money, but you can't really do that. But you do. I mean, I proved so many things to myself. It's ridiculous because I'm thinking, no, it's not gonna, but no, really, when I'm drinking my shake and I'm drinking my water and, I'm doing the process like I should, which would benefit me to try to do it correctly, I really was not eating all that stuff. I really was not spending that money. So it was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I see what she means. At one point it kind of sounds like, oh, she's just trying to tell me something because I was all being skeptical Jane and what have you. And, but you were right. I did. I stopped spending. I stopped buying the extra little things that I was doing that were not benefiting me. I stopped that. And so those funds can add up.
Mm. Thank you for bringing up the fact of the skepticism, because, we've all gone into this skeptical. I went in skeptical, no question. And that was 12 years ago when we had very little product. We had the systems that they had to offer were small. We had very little things, and we have such a huge product line now, but, the skepticism, and that's great. You know what? Be skeptical. I love it. As long as the skepticism doesn't hold you back from doing something that could potentially help you. And that's why the money back guarantee is so awesome, because, it either works or it doesn't work. You know how many times I've had to send product back in 12 years? Very few, because we know that it works. It just does. And what I love, so that we were talking a little bit about, well, what makes us different? Because there's so many things out there.
Right.
And so you go, okay, well, why I could go do this or I could go do that. And so there's so many comparisons that we could make. And I get it. What we want to pay attention to is how the protein is sourced and where it comes from, which is extremely important. And so undenatured whey protein is one of the most alkaline things that you can put into your body.
Right. Well, let me also say, before we go too far, for the benefit of people who don't know about the product, what are we talking about?
Okay.
We're talking, yeah.
So let's talk about like what comes in a system, right? So what we're looking at. So what like a typical day would be a couple of meal replacement protein shakes that are way yummy and totally filling, right? Would you agree? Like I know you were scared at first. You were like, oh.
I was so scared. So I had my drink and I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, get ready. We're going to do it. And so I have my face here and I'm scrunched up and I'm like, ooh. I was like, okay, I'm surprised. I was really bracing for the terrible. It was not bad. It really wasn't bad. So I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, yeah, I can.
How many days until you started craving it?
Ooh, probably maybe 3. I think the first day it was like, okay, that wasn't bad. Then the second day, I think I started feeling a little better. Then the third was like, okay, come on, it's time to get our shake.
Right.
And then, but after that first week, I was not playing. I was taking it in baggies, making sure I had my water. I mean, I had my shake.
What happens when you don't have it?
Do
you miss it?
I do miss it. And it's not like, it gave me all this great feeling and I didn't take it one time, so now I feel terrible. It wasn't like that. But after a little bit of time, you do start to feel the difference. And, and I'm like, nope, I need my shake. And it's not like, you slide completely down the pole with some stuff. Like when you just take a caffeine, you take 5-hour energy, you swap it back and you feel good and you're energetic and then you slowly come down and then there's nothing left. It wasn't like that. But after a day or so where I'm like too busy or I forgot to take the shake, it's like, I need the shake. The shake needs to be in here. So it's just something that I don't want to be, without, because it really has it's helped me in so many ways, in ways that I didn't expect. So
we feed the cell. So that's what we're doing. So everything's about a cell, right? We're all made out of, we have like 160 trillion cells or some crazy number like that. And to feed them is so important. And so nutrient wise, protein wise, we want to feed our muscles the best protein that we can, especially as we're aging. And I don't know the ages of everybody on here, but I'm about to turn 52 and my lean muscle is extremely important to me, because as I get older, we see that our lean muscle can start to waste away, and then we lose our balance. And you see people walking on walkers. Okay, I don't want to be that person.
Mm-mm.
I want to have my balance. I want to have my lean muscle. I want to have my stability. And so that is so important. And so for somebody who's younger and building their quality muscle, building their base foundation muscle, that's even more important, right? So to have that base foundation of good protein in there. And so also 252 nutrients in our shake. Mm-hmm. Digestive enzyme probiotics to help with your gut health and all the gut flora. And we know how important that is, right?
Right. And that's what I like too, because I have to say, just before, I really am happy that I got with you on this right when I did, because I really believe that I was about to go down the black hole of too much stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I was doing, I had tasted a lot of protein shakes, and I was starting to kind of test out the plant-based ones, and they're very gritty and disgusting. But, for my health, I can do it, and I guzzle it back and then hurry up and wash it down with water. It was disgusting, but I did feel like with the plant-based ones, I felt a lot less bloating, and I felt good, but it was gross. And because it was gross, when I would run out of that canister, I would not be in a hurry to go get another one. And so that would keep me from being consistent. So with these shakes, man, they taste good. So it's
feel good, and you stay full for how long? So 3 hours,
now,
3.5
that's what I was going to say. Now, that's the bad thing, is that I would stay full for me about 4 hours. I'm full. But I'm learning at about hour 3, go get a snack, because I can kind of do this where you talk about the no eating. Sometimes being at home, it's easy for me to just keep working and not eat. And so that kind of didn't help me. So now I'm like, okay, you still need your snacks. We're still eating. But that was my problem, is it was holding me down, and I was not hungry. But the best thing is when I'm going out like today, I was like, okay, I'm going to eventually go to have lunch with a friend, but I don't want to be starving. So I just did like 1 scoop in some water, and because I just didn't want to, I said, I know it helps me with my cravings. Mm-hmm. So this will keep me from going into the danger zone, but I can still eat a little bit and be okay. And it worked perfectly.
That's the pre-party shake. That's a perfect setup. Yeah,
exactly.
Set yourself up for success. That's awesome.
Right.
And okay, so there's shakes. So there's meal replacement, right? Then we work on detoxifying the cell. And there's lots of cleanses out there. And sometimes we think cleanse and we think poopy cleanse. And that's not what this is. This is something totally different. So we're actually cleansing the body at the cellular level. And so there's lots of things out there that can cleanse, like we do a juice cleanse. So here's some differences, right? So a juice cleanse will help the body deal with water-soluble toxins, but it will never go any deeper. So what our cleanse does is it actually goes water-soluble toxins, fat-soluble toxins, so it gets into that toxin that's inside the fat cell, and metabolic waste. So here's what's important about that, especially for somebody who's a diabetic. When you have all of this metabolic waste and junk and icky water and all of these fluids and, all the stuff that makes our cheeks fat and our ankles feel bloated, and that's all that metabolic waste and toxic water that sits inside the system. And when we go in and can cleanse that out. So now if you imagine take a ball and put mud all over the outside of it, how hard is it going to be to get to the inside of that ball, right? Because there's mud also. But clean all the mud off, it's very easy to get into the inside of the ball. So that's what our cell is like. So when we have all that metabolic waste and all that buildup, when we have glucose running through our system, pancreas sees the glucose in the system, sends the insulin out to get the sugar that's in the system, grabs that sugar, and that insulin grabs the sugar to get it inside the cell. But what the problem is that there's so much yuck on the outside that it takes a bigger and bigger insulin key to open up that cell to get the sugar in. When we can clean all of that off and get that cell functioning normally, not only does it absorb its nutrients better, but it can absorb its glucose better. Even medication, it can absorb better. So what if you were taking a medication, it could be more functional, more effective for less amount? How good would that be, right? So not only that, but because we're dealing with the fat soluble toxins, that we're pulling that toxin outside of the fat cell, then that yo-yo effect of the diet part, right, of going up and down and the body going into overload mode doesn't happen, because we're actually flushing the toxins out of the system.
So when you talk about medications, I did talk to someone about, what I was doing, and they were concerned, well, how will this affect my medications?
And there's a couple of medications that we want to be careful with. So anything that thins the blood, we want to take a look at really seriously, because this will also help thin the blood, which is great, because we want the blood to not be thick and goopy and stuck in our veins, right?
Right.
So, but as far as everything else, most things are totally functional with the system. This really is just like food.
Right.
It's just food. It's aloe vera based, and everything in there is a herb or a root that was synergistically put together to help the body detox at the cellular level. It's really a unique product. And then we have minerals. So, we talked about how depleted our minerals are, and our Ionic Supreme, which is the mineral drink. So I call it happy juice.
Oh, it is some kind of happy juice, I tell you. Oh my goodness. When you told me, if you're, normally take one scoop, with your shake, or in the morning separate with the shake. But if you're having an especially stressful day, do another one. OMG. Some of the things that, like, I've gone through, like, really stressful situations where I know, oh, this is one of those times, so I've got to be ready. Man, I had that Ionics in my system. I was cool as a cucumber. And I didn't even realize that, until after the fact. Wait a minute. I just came out of that pretty unscathed. This is awesome. I said, okay, so there might be something to this Ionics. And it made me be more consistent, because normally I would have been, my shoulders and my neck would have been all in balls up here behind the stuff that I was dealing with. But the Ionics just helped keep me balanced, and lower stress. So it was really
And what
good.
happens when we get stressed? We stress eat, right?
Yes,
so when we can reduce our stress, right? But not only that, so there's only 11 adaptogens in the entire world. And an adaptogen is something that goes into your environment and it adapts to yours. So your environment is different than my environment. And I need different things than you need. So an adaptogen can go in and fill those gaps where you need. So if you need performance and energy and stress relief, it's going to do that. If I need muscle repair and sleep and whatever, and more oxygen, it's going to help do that, right? Also, if you take a little bit before you go to sleep, it might actually help you go to sleep. If you actually take it and then put your head on the pillow. If you take it and then watch TV or read a book, you're going to be awake. But just as an example, for a month's supply of every single thing that's in that bottle will cost you about $300. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. It is.
How good that, and here's a good one, because I'm the clinical research geek, right? Totally clinically proven to reduce cellular stress. So if it's reducing the stress on your cells, how important is that, right? And here's even cool. Okay, now we're going to get into research, right? The whole system is clinically proven it beats the heart healthy diet that doctors recommend across the country. It's been clinically proven and medically peer reviewed. To also detoxify the system, clinically studied, medically peer reviewed. Also athletic performance. They did an athlete study on athletes that were already lean, already 4 or 5% body fat, already doing great. And their increases in strength, muscle, performance, incredible, right? Wow. So when you're looking at a clinically studied product, we have 6 clinical studies that are all medically peer reviewed. That's important to me.
It is. And the whole thing that is important to me is they're not just clinical studies, but the fact that they're peer reviewed, meaning some other people reproduce their exact study and came up with these results. So, you know, it wasn't about these companies who bought out somebody just to get the results that they want. Other separate entities reproduced the study, you know, and came up with their great results. So that to me is what really got me. It was like, okay, so other people are getting the same results. It's not just them, you know, putting out some fake information about what, you know, what their products do.
Exactly. So
because a lot of people do that. A lot of companies do that.
Totally. When we look at, on a 30-day system, so like you started with a 30-day system, it replaced 2 meals for you. You could pick which 2 meals you replaced. If you wanted to do some healthy snacks in between, I recommended that you do some veggies and hard-boiled eggs and whatever, healthy snacks on the in-between. And so it was never a matter of being deprived of food.
Mm-mm.
You never felt like, I need to choose something or I'm going to go crazy.
Right? I didn't. I tell you, the thing that got me is I wasn't eating. I was only going from shake to meal, and I wasn't eating the snacks. And so I had to force myself to eat the snacks. So yeah, I did not feel like, oh, I'm on a starvation diet and let me eat this. But the biggest thing that I truly love, that I feel is what's going to help me really succeed in my weight loss goals and just overall changing how I'm doing things, is how it helps my food cravings. It helps my cravings like none other, because then I can just look at it and be like, I don't want that, instead of fighting the craving plus trying to be strong and determined to not eat that. So it really took a lot of the stress off of me just not even wanting the stuff, or to the point to where if I did think about, oh, you know, I kind of want that, I could eat it and be done, be satisfied, and not worry about it again. Like literally a few more weeks go by and I haven't had that again. And that is not how I roll, okay?
Well, and the cleanse, oh my gosh. So the cleanse will totally help with that craving, that sugar issue too, because a lot of times we're so stuck. I can't walk by a piece of chocolate without eating it, right? But that totally helps with that. And so when we add all those things together and the body just goes back into balance, how great. So 2 shakes a day, snacks, and then 1 day a week, do a cleanse. And we can cleanse in all different kinds of ways, a little bit every day, a couple of days in a row, 1 full day. And we fit that into whatever is good for your schedule and wherever your health level is. So that's where it's done independently, right? So a little brown box shows up and then we totally tailor that to who you are, right?
Right.
And so there's things that we want to avoid, like soy protein and artificial sweetener and things that companies put into, because they're cheaper, because they're fillers, to reduce the sugar in something. And so when we look at artificial sweetener, not only is it a carcinogen, so that's a concern, but also we know that, especially for a diabetic, we see that, you know, that it's one of the things that really we feel advances the problem. Instead of helping the problem, we feel it really advances it. And so to learn how to do natural sugar at a smaller rate and use things that don't have such a huge glycemic dump into your system.
Right.
And so what I love about this, and when I researched and I found out that what was here was really worthy of my time, 12 years of it, that every single ingredient that goes into this product is DNA fingerprinted. So if it comes in, they test it for toxins and impurities, and also to make sure that the strand is pure. So if it is none of those, or any of those is missing, it doesn't get put into the product, it goes back. The huge thing about that is that once it goes back, they don't throw that away. Other companies just buy it and they sell it to somebody else. I've seen the company have an ingredient come in that's not right, or they could source a less quality ingredient from somewhere else, and they don't do it. They would rather not have a product for a period of time than to put out a substandard product, which I totally appreciate the integrity of that.
I do too.
So they test it, they DNA fingerprint, they test during, when it's being made, and then they also test it for efficacy after it's produced. So we know that what's there is fully functional. And not only that, we're third-party tested, sport informed certified, which means any athlete across the board can do our professional line, because no problem. Olympic athlete, professional athlete, no worries about having some weird product make them get popped on a random drug test. And so that's a huge, and NSF certified. So those are huge certifications. So when we say this is what's in the product, that's what's in the product. And so when we look at, if we replace 2 meals a day, if I just looked at somebody and said, how much are you spending 2 meals a day? We can typically do that for way less than what they're normally spending. Mm-hmm. And the best part about that, and it's a value that we don't talk about a whole lot, even though it's such a huge piece of the puzzle, is we offer challenge groups. We offer coaching. So just to hire me as a coach, I could charge somebody $150 an hour or more to have them to coach with me nutritionally, to teach them how to shop, to teach them how to clean their pantry, to teach them all of the little pieces and parts, how to weigh food, how to do their micros and macros. We could do all that. But we use the system. It's convenient. It's easy. We coach you through. We customize it to each person. Not only that, we have this entire community of doctors, nurses, fitness professionals, athletes, regular yous and me's, all of these different people that are there to support. Now, if you went to Weight Watchers, right, you're paying for all of that support, plus you're paying for meals, plus you're paying for, here, you invest in the system, you get all of us for free. You get all of that for free.
And I have to admit, the fall challenge that we did, at first I was like, being the challenge, what do we have to do? I'm always dragging my feet. It's like, I guess I want to be all dramatic and kick and scream to everything, And so we got in and everybody's like, showing the shake and showing the exercise. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm in here. They're doing it. I need to do it. And I tell you, that was a good few weeks. I really enjoyed it. And it really did push me forward, where I could have easily slid back into not doing the things I needed to do. It really kept me accountable to get out there and get on the track and walk, or do the exercises that were provided. Sometimes I couldn't do some of those, but I just went and walked. I'm like, it's better for me to do something than nothing. Right. And it felt good to share with people who were doing it too. So, the challenges, and like you said, was free. It was really helpful.
And we could totally charge people to be a part of that, and we don't. And the training that we give, the opportunities that we give, and you have direct access to all of the coaches, such a huge value that just gets added in. So you really, what the system is not an expense. This is an investment into your health, an investment into the opportunity to be able to share it with someone else and help them change their life. This is financially, the company's changed our blueprint forever. And, I've sold my salons, I've brought myself home, I've brought my husband home from the electrical union, all of this because this product is amazing. And this company has integrity and stands behind what they say and what they do. And,
right.
Tina, or I don't know if you're still out there. I'd love to introduce everybody to Tina. So, there you are.
Nice.
So this is Tina, everybody. She is my amazing friend who, has actually released 130 pounds using the system, and, just was inducted into our 100-pound club. We have 100 pound, 200 pound, 300 pound, 400 pound. I think we're getting ready. We have a 500 pound now too. Whoa. So we have all of these thousands of people who have done this. And so, Tina works for an endocrine doctor. So she sees every single day what happens with, people in the diabetic situation. Right. So,
yep, absolutely.
But we just wanted to shout you out for doing so great. And I do have her picture somewhere. We need to get a new picture, because your after that I have is like not even your after.
For sure.
So
I'll get you a new
how long
picture.
did it take, for you to kind of get to your 100-pound mark? And, kind of, was that a hard
I
thing
would
for you?
say no, no. I started doing it for medical reasons. I wanted to get off medications and things of that nature. Uh, Weirdly, the weight loss was a side effect. And then when I went to get off of it, because I was like, all right, well, I'm off all my meds. Let me just, get off of the shakes. I don't need this stuff anymore. I just felt like crap, honestly. And I was like, you know what? Nope, I got to go back because I tried to eat healthy and I tried to eat clean. And no matter what I did, I wasn't putting the right nutrition in my body. So I went back to my nutrition where I know I have to be in order to just function, really. In order to be my best me, I have to have this nutrition in my body. And I don't try to lie to myself about it anymore. So I am on it's been 3 years. I lost my first 100 pounds in the first 2 years. And then, the other 30, I've been doing the performance system as well. So I've gained a lot of lean muscle in that process. So
Wow.
it's good.
It is good. So if you think about too, losing 130 pounds, you would assume that, she's a ton of extra skin and loose skin and all. And really, because you're losing the weight through nutrition instead of deprivation, your collagen and your elastin really stays pliable. So as you go, it goes with you.
And that's the one thing that really got me about a lot of the before and afters in the Rock Your Life group. I was in there and I'm seeing people's pictures and I'm looking kind of at their stories and kind of following the timelines. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm in other like gastric sleeve groups and other groups where, you're just supporting people and being a part of the process. Because at one time I was thinking about, whether or not that was an option, and it's not. But looking at their before and afters versus these before and afters, people look great and healthy. And that was the thing that got me. And people look strong, and I was like, I want that.
Right.
I don't want to just be skinny fat, which is what I call people who do, and that's not to talk bad about them, because sometimes if you need the surgery, you need it. But the way the body loses the weight, it's like you have still the same body shape that you had when you were heavy, but it's just smaller. You don't really have lean muscle, they still are carrying a lot of, that extra weight. And people on the isogenics just didn't look like that. They looked healthy and good. And I just wanted that.
Well, and for me to get somebody before surgery, that's my happy space. Because if I can get them to give me a month, the majority of time, in fact, I won't even say the majority of time, I've never had anybody go through with it after I've had them for a month.
Right. Well, I'm glad
Crazy,
I got
right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing, Tina. It's good to see your face.
You're very welcome.
And so we really would just like to invite everybody to be a part of the Rock Your Health page and sit back and watch. Find out for yourself. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Carmella. You can reach out to me. We're both on the invite, so you can find us. You can talk to us. If you want to message anybody that was here, that's feel free. But inside the page, you can kind of see what's going on. There's no pressure. We're just here to support and help. I don't need to. It's not about telling stories to get you guys to try a product. This is about helping people have a real true health transformation. Siobhan, is that you? I don't know if she's on.
Did she come on? Did she make it on?
See
oh,
her.
She did make it on. Yeah.
I don't know if we have audio for her. She's trying to work it out. She'll figure it out. When you get your audio on, you just talk and. Yes, Linda, we got it recorded. So we can post that up in the event page. And then if anybody would like to be a part of the Rock Your Health group, you can either type it into the chat box that you'd like to be a part, or you can reach out to Carmella. Did we get you on the audio?
Let's.
I don't think so. I don't show her having a. Oh wait, no. Can't figure it out. That's okay.
Okay. But yeah, well, I really appreciate you coming on and, you know, talking to us, because see, you have all the science and all the good know-how and, you know, their research. And for me, it's just about the 25 amazing things that have happened that I didn't guarantee, you know, I wasn't looking for. I was looking for maybe 2 or 3. And to get so many other things. And it was like they just kind of came slowly out of nowhere. And then another thing and another thing. And it just detoxing your cells so that your body can function as it was intended. It's a big deal. And where Tina just said, you know, I had to stop lying to myself, thinking that I could do this other ways. Man, already in my short period have been there, done that. And it's not the right way to go. So, so that's why I said in the beginning, I did a live and told everybody, come over. I hope y'all show up. I said, this isn't normally something I do, but when I can now go down steps, because since Siobhan can't come through, she said at first she was interested in doing it. Then she changed her mind. Is that you, Siobhan? Okay. Then she changed her mind. But then she said what changed her mind was that we had gone out somewhere, and my trepidation about going up some steps, because I couldn't do steps and I kind of had no way out. I had to figure it out. She said seeing that look in my eye was a big deal. And then seeing me after being on the system, and I could almost run up and down steps. I could keep up with her. She was like, oh, something is real about this. And that's what made her decide to go ahead and jump on too. So she herself has seen some great things, and I don't know why we can't hear her, but hopefully, she said her sound is not working. Well, you can type your, you know, whatever you want in the comments, but thank you for showing up. We appreciate you. But, you know, she says that's what it was. Seeing the before and the after for me is what made her want to see what it could do for her.
Right. So good. So we'll add everybody to Rock Your Health. So anybody who wants to be in there, and if anybody wants to know about how to get started, so you know what, give us 30 days and see what it does for you. This is the best time of the year to do this, because through the holidays you go, oh, well, let me wait till after. But you know what, this is the best time to do it, because you can still have your fun. You can still eat your little goodies, and you can lose weight and be feeling good through, you know, the most stressful time of the year, right? So we're here. So however we can help.
All right. And if you all know any type 2 diabetics who are struggling and really need support, or if you know some type 2 diabetics who have really done the work, they put it in and they're doing the very best they can, but they still need that extra push and motivation. They might need to have their process tweaked to see how we can get them to the next level of their diabetes goals. Please send them my way. You can send them over to A Diabetic Type Life. I have a Facebook page and a Facebook group, and I would just love to support them, because contrary to what everybody thinks, they don't all know about diabetes, but I do. So, and I want them to win. So I thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for staying on. I know we went a little bit over, but I appreciate you. I hope you learned a lot. I know I did. I do every time I talk to JoJo. And I hope y'all have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being on.
All right.